Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Dr. Catherine Geddick-Soltis, and I serve as Director of the Center for Peace and Justice here at Villanova. Our center was founded over 25 years ago, and since its beginning, it sought to contribute to the search for world peace and social justice. We do this through classes, through lectures, through film series, through student organizations, and the like. But to be truly successful in contributing toward greater justice in the world, the center relies fundamentally on its students, who upon graduating, take the opportunities and education we have shared with them beyond this campus and bring to life empowerment, transformation, and hope in this world. As a relatively new director of the Center for Peace and Justice, I stand humbly in the legacy of many who have gone before me to make the center what it is today. Many who have inspired and challenged our students to integrate the work for justice into the totality of their lives. And for every student, with his own goals, her own skills and passions, there has been a unique way to carry forth this legacy. Today, we are honored to hear from someone who can both educate us about justice and who can also demonstrate how Villanova alumni give life to the goals of the center in extraordinary ways. So it is fitting that to introduce our speaker this afternoon, we will turn to an alumna in the making. Blair Biersbach is a senior peace and justice concentrator. She serves our Villanova community in many ways, including as chair of the Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service Committee, and she is also a Catholic Relief Services ambassador in the immigration focus area. And it was through Blair's current internship with Perfugo, a development organization that works primarily in India, that she forged a connection that made today's talk possible. I'd like to thank Blair for her commitment and her hard work. And I'd also like to thank the tremendous staff of the Center for Peace and Justice Education. Also, a special thanks goes to Villanova Theater, to Student Development, to University Communications for all their support and participation today. And so now I turn the microphone over to Blair, who will introduce our special speaker.
Good afternoon, everyone. I've always loved Ms. Bello's film work, and I'd been keeping up with her incredible projects in Haiti for a while. So when I commented on her blog back in the beginning of February, I simply wanted to reach out to her as a fellow Villanova University Peace and Justice junkie. I feel so blessed to have had the opportunity to assist in planning Ms. Bello's visit today, and I can't wait for all of you to learn about the tremendous ways in which Ms. Bello has contributed to both the acting world and to various social justice efforts. Maria Bello is an internationally renowned actor and women's rights activist. She traces her current work back to her formation as a student at Villanova. She credits Father Ray Jackson, an Augustinian priest and co-founder of the university's Center for Peace and Justice Education, for inspiring her to both follow her passion and to help others in the process. Ms. Bello's involvement with issues of social justice during her time at Villanova included work at the Women's Law Project in Philadelphia. Ms. Bello has starred in over 30 movies and TV series, including Coyote Ugly, A History of Violence, The Cooler, ER, Prime Suspect, Grown Ups, and the Jane Austen Book Club. She has received several nominations and wins for her acting, including the Golden Globe Awards and the New York Film Critics Awards. In 2009, Maria was voted one of Variety magazine's most powerful women in Hollywood for her efforts with women in Darfur. Ms. Bello's work in Haiti has been remarkable. She is a Vital Voices Global Ambassador for Haiti and works in Haiti with a network of 300 Haitian women politicians, businesswomen, and artisans. Ms. Bello also produced a women's media campaign and spearheaded the opening of the Women's Clinic immediately following the earthquake. In September 2011, she joined President Martelly's Advisory Council on Investing in Haiti to advocate for investments for women in the country. Ms. Bello is a member of CGI and works on gender policy within the Haiti networks as well. Ms. Bello's most incredible humanitarian efforts in Haiti are through the NGO she co-founded, We Advance. We Advance is a movement to advance the health, safety, and well-being of women throughout Haiti. The organization models an inclusive grassroots approach that collaborates with both other organizations and women from every socioeconomic class. Based in the poorest slums in the Western Hemisphere, We Advance has 3 primary programs: health clinic, community outreach and education, and advocacy on a local, national, and international level. In addition to these programs, the organization works very closely with a network of more than 40 NGOs throughout the country. I'd like to share with you a short video on Ms. Bello's incredible work with the NGO We Advance.
Résistance, oh, résistance, oh, on ces femmes qui gagnent, résistance, oh.
So right after the earthquake, they all talked about how blessed they were that cities of LA was saved because most of them just live in tin and it's flat near the water. So
We Advance started when Barbara Guillaume, Allison Thompson, Alita Frischman, myself, and a group of prominent Haitian women met to discuss the problems facing Haiti. This small country boasts over 10,000 NGOs and received over $1 billion in aid after the earthquake, yet the conditions remain abysmal. So where did all that money go? It made us angry. We Advance was created because, basically, we were pissed off. We wanted results. We started in Wharf Sharon.
So over here we have our clinic, and it's a medical clinic.
People thought we were crazy to go to Wavjemi because it was considered to be one of the most dangerous parts of Cité Soleil. Cité Soleil itself holds a reputation for being the most dangerous part in Haiti.
We are in a red zone. A red zone is an area where the United Nations has declared it's a very dangerous zone. So many of the larger NGOs are not allowed to bring services there.
Most of the children aren't in school. They spend their days roaming the streets while their parents struggle to feed them. Sewage and trash fill the streets and contaminate the water, the same water the women use to wash and the children play in.
This is the largest slum in the Western Hemisphere, and we feel that if we can make a change there and change behavior there, then we can bring it out through the rest of Haiti and change a nation.
Here's what we have done in just 7 months. Our Not Foncé family clinic has seen and treated more than 10,000 people. By the end of this year, we expect to see 60,000.
There's very few medical care facilities here. Certainly no comprehensive hospital or anything like that.
Services include cholera prevention classes, pre- and postnatal care, basic health needs, and community outreach. And this year, we are partnering with Global Dirt to start the first ever ambulance service for our neighborhood.
This is our English class. We're doing English classes, Creole reading and writing classes. As I said, we do the gender-based violence classes.
So there's no handle?
No.
We teach English classes at our clinic 3 times a day, 3 days a week for men and women. The waiting list for these classes is well over 200.
Example of a sentence using one of the vocab words that you have in the present, past, and future tense. And they have to act out the words. Today, I have a cat. Today, I have a cat.
We've also partnered with Yele Haiti for an empowerment outreach program. The program teaches gender-based violence, human rights, hygiene, and democracy classes.
Good. Very good.
We have implemented our mentoring program with key staff members to be trained to take over operations.
And eventually, they're going to move on and do something else. They would like to leave it in the hands of us, the Haitian women.
We employ 100% Haitian staff at our clinic, including doctors, nurses, security, and construction personnel. We hold programs for the children that allow us to evaluate their health and nutritional needs. Physical education, art therapy, and sanitation classes.
With the trash pickup, again, this is about changing a behavior. We explain to them why it's important to keep our environment clean.
And most fun, once a week we have wash day. 200 kids finally get a bath. Creole, there is a term, potel miton. It means the center pillar of the house. Women are the potel miton of their families. They are the teachers of the children, the caregivers of the elderly, the breadwinners, the nurses. Studies have shown the more that women are empowered, especially in developing countries, the stronger the nation is.
I am more hopeful than I've ever been in my whole life about Haiti. And I believe that I'm not alone in that sentiment.
We Advance does not believe in bureaucracy. We believe in partnerships. We do not believe in waiting. We believe in doing. We believe that everyone has a right to dignity, and we believe it starts with women. We Advance, not Fonse.
Please help me welcome to the stage actor, humanitarian, and one of my personal role models, Maria Bello.
Can I get a chair up here? Thanks. Hi, everybody. I am so incredibly honored and moved to be here at my alma mater, and I have to thank my brother Joey for making me do this. And I want to apologize to Villanova for taking so many years to come back. Believe it or not, I'm a bit shy, and I've been waiting all these years to figure out if I had something to say. And now I realize I've come full circle in my life. I have become and am becoming the woman that I've always dreamed about being at Villanova. So I hope my journey inspires you. I want to thank my entire family in the front row and friends who have constantly supported my insanity, especially my son Jackson McDermott. Shout out to Jackson. He's the best kid ever, who puts up with my traveling to Haiti every other day. And my mom Kathy, my sister Lisa and Kelly, who threw the most beautiful fundraiser for us last night. Also to Blair, who courageously reached out to me and inspired me to come, to my friend Barbara Wall, Dr. Geddick, Villanova, and Father Peter Donahue, who I hope I get to meet very soon. And of course, the Peace and Justice and the theater department. Thank you all for having me. We have such a long history at Villanova, my family. My grandfather was the sacristan here in the chapel for 13 years. My grandmother worked in the cafeteria at the salad bar lady, in Doherty Hall. Is that what it's called? Doherty Hall. And while I was going to school here, and my brother and I used to go all the time for lunch and sit with the salad ladies with my grandmother. That was my lunch crowd. When I first came here, I took a class in peace and justice education. And I met the most extraordinary man of my life. Sorry, I didn't think I'd cry. His name was Father Ray Jackson. Sorry, for a second, I was just kind of praying to him and saying, make sure I don't cry, but or whatever. Anyway, my son is named after him. My son is his namesake. Father Ray Jackson helped to start the Peace and Justice Center. And what he said in his book and in his way of what peace and justice was, I'll read it to you. He says, peace and justice education is a process that enables students to broaden their appreciation for people of other cultures, to develop a new vision based on humanitarian values, and to participate actively in creating a better world, and to equip the student with the knowledge and sensitivity to live a life worthy of the highest aspirations of humankind. I wanted to live the highest aspirations of humankind. But during college, I had too much of a crush on Drew What's-His-Name to actually do it. But Father Ray, in my first class, he asked us to write a paper on who our heroes were. And I wrote a paper, and I said my heroes were Martin Luther King and Gandhi and Mother Teresa, people who made a huge impact in this world. And he called me up after class, and he said, wow, I can't believe you wrote this. And I said, didn't everybody? I couldn't understand that people had different heroes, that sports players were heroes, and actors, and business people. But we really connected on that level, and Father Ray asked me to edit his book for him, the book called An Introduction to Peace and Justice Education. I was lucky to spend 2 summers in that library right there. There's a secret room in that library, by the way. Has anyone been to this room? I can't tell you where it is, but I spent 2 summers reading every book I could that he ever read about social justice, about racism, about sexism, about genocide, about human rights. And I learned so much for him. I started working at the Women's Law Project in Philadelphia. I've always been passionate about equal rights for women and their right to choose. I was on my way to become a women's rights lawyer. I was studying to take my LSATs, and it was the end of my junior year, and someone told me that I could take an elective, an acting class as an elective. Now, we grew up in Norristown. We don't have any actors in our family. And I said, don't you have to sing or dance or something? I mean, I don't even really like musical theater. But I was always very dramatic. So and the truth was, because Drew, who I still had the crush on, who was in that class, I was like, okay, I'll take it. This is a theme in my life, by the way. There I was. I took this class. And the first thing we had to do was get a song and do a monologue from this song. And I chose a Bob Dylan song. And it was about finding your dignity. And I realized right after that that art was transformational, that art could be used to further social justice and to tell stories. And soon afterwards, I went to Father Ray in tears, saying, I don't know what to do. I thought I was supposed to be in service, and I should go to law school, and I should be helping the world, and now I want to be an actor. And I feel like it's such a selfish profession. And the thing that Father Ray said to me has changed my life and helped me on my entire journey. And that is, you serve best by doing the thing you love most. And he was right. So with the support of my family, I went to New York City right after graduation with 2 trash bags filled with clothes and $300 and made my way. I'm happy to say, through all of the challenges that I had during my time in New York, by the time that I was 28 years old, which was old for an actor, I went to Los Angeles. On my first day, I got a job. And after that, I've worked ever since. I've been really fortunate. But all through that time, the thing that has made me the most excited, the thing that just turns me on the most, is being of service. I can't imagine just being an actor. I would be bored to death. But it's doing both of these things that I love, and marrying those 2 things that is exciting about my life. So that's what I really wanted to talk to you about today. I wanted to talk to you about being of service and using what you do and who you are and what you're passionate about to be of service. I said to one of my friends, one of my heroes, his name is Father Rick Frechette. He's the one who first got me down to Haiti. He's another Catholic priest. I like the Catholic priests. He was a priest. He went to Haiti and he realized the people needed a doctor more than a priest. So he came back and forth, got his medical degree, went down to Haiti, started a pediatric hospital, the only one in the Caribbean, a maternal health hospital, a cholera hospital now, 3 orphanages, street schools, the first secondary school. I mean, he's a dynamo, this guy. And I said to him a couple months ago, I said, Father, you know, you're like a saint, and I'm so not. And he said, Maria, you don't have to be a saint to be of service. Whatever your motivation is, whoever you are, however you want to serve, that's the way to do it. So now I'm able to look back on my life now and connect the dots and see the most powerful things that helped to set me on my path. So here's some points. If you don't mind, I'm going to sit. I just like to share with you. I was sitting with my mom on the couch a couple of weeks ago in my house in Los Angeles, and we were, I was constantly on the BBM to Haiti, figuring my stuff out. Jack's studying for middle school and making dinner at the same time, like all parents. That's what we do. And I was watching The Housewives of New Jersey and having a glass of wine. And I turned to my mom and said, this isn't right? Like all those people in one body? And my mom and I talked about it, and she said, Maria, this too belongs. All of your pieces. And it's what Father said. You don't have to be a saint. So the first point is really to own it, whatever your motivation. Maybe I started out, yes, I've learned from my family and I've always wanted to do good in the world, but the truth is, I probably started out on this path because I had a crush on Drew, And that was my first motivation, and that was okay. So someone said this to me once too, turn your pain into compassion. We all have crap in our life that we've been through, our own pain, our own insecurities, our childhood wounds. It doesn't mean that we stop. It doesn't mean that we should sit in victimhood. Use that. Become rageful. Use it to do something in the world. Being of service, I found, the things that led me to service. Now, after doing those things, I've become service. So it's a different thing, but it was only by taking those little steps, owning all of my pieces, that I was able to do that. The second thing is, I took it from one of my son's movies, Happy Feet. Did you ever see that? And it's find your own dance and dance it. We're not cookie cutter people, right? We were bowling the other day, and we saw Coldplay, right, on one of the videos, and Chris Martin dances like this, you know how he does that thing? And he's always danced like that. And then Paula Cole comes up from the 90s, who was one of my idols, and she dances like this, and Jack's like, what is she doing? And I said, she has her own dance. She has her own way. It's like if you had seen me on campus today and I was dressed in my sort of professional clothes, and then, my mom calls this my uniform. This is what I've always, wear when I'm playing. And I felt like with the students, I wanted to show you this part of myself as well, who's the worker and the girl who likes to play. And you also don't have to be happy, joy. And what I mean by that is kind of this New Age philosophy, which I've read every self-help New Age book in the universe, talks about positive, and this is the way you give back. And well, guess what? One of my heroes is William Styron, who wrote Darkness Visible. I've known people in my family who've gone through dark, dark days, myself as well. And this man wrote a book on depression, this most beautiful poetic story in his pain that changed the world, that people read that had experienced that and felt like they weren't alone anymore. And it's helped so many people. So again, it's about turning your pain into compassion. Number 3 is there's this old Chinese proverb that I love. And the idea is, good isn't good and bad isn't bad. We can't define something that happens to us as good or bad. Imagine this. Okay, so this guy lives in a little village in China. His old mare dies, and someone brings him a stallion. And his neighbor said, oh, what a good thing. And he says, I don't know if it's good or bad. They looked at him like he was crazy. The next thing you know, his son gets on the stallion and falls off the stallion and breaks his leg. And the neighbor comes and said, "Oh, that's so bad, I'm so sorry." And he says, "I don't know if it's good or bad." The next thing you know, the army comes to the town and recruits every kid in that town, and most of them die. But guess what? His son wasn't one of them, because he had broken his leg. And still someone said, "That's so good," and he said, "I don't know if it is." So I've learned in my life, and my family's taught me this a lot, to stop defining what's good or bad. It seems like to me, all of the supposedly bad things I've been through, all of the heartbreaks, all of the pain and the death, always led me to a better place. And when I remember that, and I'm going through pain, I feel better about life. Another thing I had to ask myself, which Father Ray asked me earlier, and a lot of students ask me this today, how do you know what you're supposed to do? And I don't think you know. Maybe we never know. But there are clues that you can take. And one of the clues, like Father Ray said, are, who are your heroes? Who are the people who you admire and you think, wow, I'd like a life like that? That's really interesting to me. And is it a sports star? Is it, Richard Branson? Is it, Brad Pitt? Whoever that is, to look at the character and the characteristics of that person and see who you want to become, see who you want to emulate. So I'll talk about a couple of my heroes, but a particular hero comes to mind, which is Somali Mom. She spoke here before. Do you know Somali? Who my mother and I met in DC, and I was so moved by her story. Talk about someone who takes their pain and turns it into compassion. I mean, she was a sex slave for years. She runs away, Cambodia. She doesn't run away and say, "Oh, I'm never coming back." She starts coming back immediately to save other girls. And she still does it to this day. And I admire that, and she does it with joy. The fifth thing, which my mother teaches me, and the funniest person I ever met, my friend Kelly Day, is to laugh at yourself. You have always made me laugh and have a way through all of your, anything you've been through, to be able to make us all laugh. You laugh at yourself and make us all laugh at ourselves. And to be honest, a lot of people who are in service and working for the world, especially when they're starting out, tend to be quite earnest. Like their thing is the most important thing, and that's exhausting. It's boring. Please, whatever you do, work against being earnest. We're not all the most important people in the world, or our issue isn't all the most important thing. My friend Kelly, a single mom raising 3 kids, working at a bar at the time, one of her friend's sisters got sick with cancer, and the sister laughed all the way to the end. And Kelly was so inspired by that she started an organization called Save Second Base, which is funny. You should see the shirts with the 2 booby boos. And this organization is just growing and growing and growing, and I really admire that for following your passion and your truth and teaching people to give back and to laugh. Number 6 is look for your magic shoes and try them on. I'll explain that to you. This is a story I often tell. When I was in New York City, I was poor. Admit it. Mom had to come up at one point and bring me like aspirin. I didn't have money for aspirin. I lived like in people's apartments and in basements and worked in bars and restaurants. And one day, quite early on, when I was about 23, I went to an audition. And that day, my manager called and said, "Your agents have fired you." And I said, "What?" And they said, "The casting director called and said, you were so awful that you should never act again and you should go back to class." I was devastated. I was walking down 23rd Street. It was snowing. Here I am in my army boots, I'm crying. And suddenly I see something shimmering in the snow. And I turn around and I go back, and here is this gold glitter high heel shoe. Like a cheap one, like one that a transvestite might wear. And I look down at this shoe, and I just have this feeling, and so I sit on the ground and in the snow, and I take my boot off, and I put it on, and it fit. And I was like, thank you, God, thank you, Father Ray. Like, I have my shoe, and it's telling me, it's a sign. Something's telling me, God's telling me, I'm supposed to do this. And so ever since then, my friends and family laugh at me. I'm always about, it's a sign. It's a sign. And I believe there are signs for all of us. We just have to look for those signs. I told the theater department today that years later, after so many of my dreams had come true from this magic shoe, I was going through a transition in my life, maybe 4 years ago, and I wanted to let go and find new dreams. So I took that shoe back to New York, where I found it, and I brought it to Central Park, and I photographed it, and I had this idea. I got a piece of paper, and I wrote my story. I didn't say who I was. It was anonymous, that this shoe gave me inspiration to follow my destiny. I put it on a piece of cardboard in front of my hotel. I had the doorman watch it, because it said, if you're a woman size 9, please try me on. If you're not, please walk on. And then I drove away. And I don't know who has that shoe, but I hope they were inspired by that as much as I was, and I hope they're flying right now and following their dreams. But the best part is, a couple of months later, Jack and I are on the beach. He comes running up. Mom, I found your gold shoe. A gold shoe had washed up on the beach. And my son found it. A month later, I'm walking out of the Hollywood Bowl, walking down the street, and suddenly, there's a gold shoe. This one is spray painted. It was like some art exhibit. And I pick it up, and I walk a few more feet, and there's another one, and another one, and another one. 5 gold shoes. His was the 6th. And I had this feeling, it was true, that whatever you give comes back to you tenfold. I've seen it in my life. I know it's true. The next thing, number 7, is something my mom always said. When you make lemonade out of lemons. When you're given a lemon, when you're given a rough time, perhaps, you can always turn it into something positive. My mother has inspired me so much with her positivity. Right before I came to university, she was diagnosed with cancer, and they told her she had, 5 months to live or something. And my mom said, no, I don't. I'm going to see my kid graduate high school. My mom's been alive all of these years. Not only alive, but alive. Because she sees everything as a gift from God. I've never met anyone who is so compassionate. And service isn't just about working in Haiti like I do. Service is about the personal touch. Service is about giving your grace and compassion and touching people in your lives like you touch so many people, Mom. So that's another one of my heroes. Thanks for teaching me that. 8, and very important, especially if you're at university, is to know that not knowing is the adventure. Because a lot of kids say, even adults, but a lot of kids say, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And my answer to that is, who does? The thing that I find that you need to do is follow the thing that makes you feel good. Follow your passion. And that reminds me of one of my young heroes, who is my friend Nora Resnick. We worked together. When she was 23 years old, and a friend died, and she said, what am I supposed to do? I need a change. I need to break out. She went on the internet, which is quite easy these days, and she put in what she likes. elephants, Thailand, kids. And she found this organization that she went to volunteer for 2 weeks, taking care of elephants and kids in Thailand. And those small steps led her on a journey to the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. So I like to say that I don't know is the greatest adventure, and I still don't know. The next thing is to create your own destiny. And like I said about the internet, there are so many ways to live a life and so many interesting things that people are doing. It's easy, especially if you come from a family that's about, you should get a job that's secure. We're at a place in our lives and in this generation where a lot of us don't want to sit in cubicles. We don't want that life, and there's so many different ways to live a life. My friend Blake Mykoski, he started Tom's Shoes. Here he is in Argentina. He's a traveler, just traveling around. He sees these kids with this foot disease with no shoes, and then he sees these shoes that are really cheap to make, and he goes, oh, I should do this thing where we'll make shoes and we'll give one to a kid and we'll sell one. It's a multi-million-dollar business, and he found a way to turn something that he was passionate about into a business. And I find that that is the new way of aid, the new sustainable aid, to build businesses. So you don't have to be poor to be of service either. You don't have to be, my friend Alita works like in the dirt in Haiti. She's that person. I'm not. I can't work there every day. That's not my calling. I do a different thing. For instance, I'm really, like I said, a bit shy. I know I don't seem like it now. I've had to practice this a long time. But even in terms of fundraising, I don't know how to do that. I know how to inspire people and motivate them. The women I work with and work in community. But I know that there is someone here that has that bit. They know how to do that bit. My sister is so social and such an artist. She threw this fundraiser together, which I couldn't possibly do. So the idea is to figure out, to create your own destiny, your own ideas, your own job. And the 10th thing is one of my favorite quotes ever. When you have come to the edge of all light that you know, and are about to drop off into the darkness of the unknown, faith is knowing one of two things will happen. There will be something solid to stand on, or you will be taught to fly. I really believe, in my life anyway, when I get to an edge of a cliff, and it's often, I have two choices. I can turn around and run, or I can jump. And I say, whenever you have the chance, jump. Because why not? What is there to be afraid of, really, except to have an experience and learn something more? Now, lastly, I was thinking this, and my brother brought this up, at Villanova, he said, you have such a support here, and such an amazing community, and the school is about service. They are about service. They want to live in that space. And he said, so what's your call to action? What can you ask of them? And I said, you know what I'm most interested in, Joe? Is social businesses, what I told you about. We've been throwing this idea around, Nora and I and all the women I work with, for a while, which is we need to create a product or a business to support We Advance, so we don't have to keep having fundraisers and such, and don't have to depend on government money or whatever it is. So I'm going to challenge you, everybody at Villanova, and thank goodness we have the support of the Peace and Justice Department to do this. And the challenge is this: create a product for us. By yourself, with your friend, with your classmates. I really want you to think about this. Remember the Live Strong bracelets? Do you know how much money they made for that charity? Create a product that's really inexpensive, that college kids all over the country will want. Everyone has the opportunity to do this. And whoever wins this competition, and it is a competition, you'll find out there'll be an email blast in the next couple of weeks about how to give in your 1-pager or your 2-minute video about the project you create, the product you create. But this isn't only about creating a product. This is called a social business. And guess what you will be if you win this competition? First of all, of course, we'll help you get investors and media for this new company in partnership with us. But you make the money as well. It's your business. And that's how I think the New 8 is working. So I would like to, again, challenge you to do that. I think it's a really exciting exercise and something we really could use. And it could mobilize the entire country of college students to do the same thing, to give back, but as well as giving to yourselves. So in the end, I want to thank again my friend and my mentor, Father Ray Jackson, who put me on this life's path, who let me know that I had something to contribute, that no matter what I chose, no matter what I'd been through, that I could walk in grace. And I think finally I am, and I think it's because of him. So I want to thank you all so much for your inspiration and for being here and for your passion for everything you're doing and everything that you want to do. And I'm just honored to speak to you today, and thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Betty. Thanks, Betty. Thank you. Whew. And I'd also like to take questions about anything, and it doesn't have to be about service. It can be about like Brad and Angelina. I don't care. Whatever you want to ask. I'm so happy to answer. So please feel free if anybody has a question or a comment or anything. Yes.
What did happen to all the money we contributed to Haiti?
Oh, that makes me mad. Oh, yes. She said, what did happen to all the money we contributed to Haiti? And I will say that a lot of it is being put to good use. This new administration is incredible, I'll tell you that. A new prime minister will be named on Thursday. Hopefully he'll pass. And part of the platform is to have a 30% quota to place women in political positions, that there must be 30% of women. This hasn't happened in very many countries. And that's a pretty progressive way of thinking. Because statistics show the more that women are in political positions, the more stable and peaceful their country is. But what happened after the earthquake? A lot of people give money to big aid organizations, the biggest ones, the ones that they've heard about. But I gotta tell you, the overhead for most of those big organizations is astronomical. And what happened, and this actually came out in the news, so I'm not speaking out of turn. One of the organizations, for instance, have 2 years to spend the money. So what they do is put part of the money in savings and let it accrue interest and wait, and then use that for one of their other programs in some other country. So as much as you think for a big organization that you might have given to Haiti, you might not have. I think you need to do your research. I think you should find out who are the grassroots groups, who are really, really doing the work. And I think it's easy to find. I started investigating, going on the internet. You just put like We Advance. What? Elephants and Thailand. and you can find the groups that are the small, down, and dirty ones, like We Advance and like many, many organizations I know in Haiti.
Hello. I was going to ask you about life, because like, oh my gosh, I can ask her a question about life, but you did so beautifully in your speech earlier. But as somebody who's going to go into the entertainment industry, I went to Los Angeles this summer and discovered LA out there. But I want to go to New York, and I just want to know a brief introduction about entertainment industry in New York, just briefly.
Oh, sure. You mean starting out in the entertainment industry in New York? I don't think there is starting out in the entertainment industry in New York, not in my experience. I feel like New York is about training. And if you're ready to do the work, a lot of people say, oh, can you tell me how to get an agent when they're right out of school? I'm like, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't. I'm with the biggest agency in the world, and I can't get my brother an agent if he wants an agent. It doesn't work like that. It's not about connections you have. And I would say, for someone starting out, get yourself to New York and get training, because I've found that actors who have trained in New York and have really taken it seriously and come to the West Coast, people die over you. Casting directors are like, oh my God, she's really cute and she can act. She must be from New York. So I would say, go to New York and study. Kelly, are you going to do stand-up for us?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not. When you go over to Haiti, are you ever afraid that you're going to get sick? Like, how do you survive as a volunteer? And we're looking at that squalor. I'm sitting here crying my eyes out. I can't even imagine. I mean, do you have like a case of Deer Park in the back? Like, how do you guys survive that? How do you eat and drink and bathe? And well, you probably don't bathe, but.
That's a great question, and definitely I always come back with a little parasite, I'll be honest, but there's always good in it as well. I get really thin for the parasites eating away at my insides. But Haiti is so misunderstood in a way. There's a gorgeous part of Haiti. Like in Port-au-Prince and Pétionville, there's, like in Bala-Cynwyd, those sort of mansions. It used to be called the haves and the have-nots, the bourgeois that lived in that part of town. Well, it turns out all of those big families, so many of them that I've known over the years, they sent their kids away to get educated. These kids have come back, like the new prime minister, like Martelly, like their president, like Sophia Martelly, and have said, we want to change our country. We want to do something. And they are down in Cité Soleil. They are working to change this place. And people are finally starting to recognize it. These classes are coming together. So let me be honest. There's 5-star hotels and gorgeous beaches. When I go, I stay at my friend's house. It looks like, you know, my mom's house. And I eat salads and burgers, and Nora's been with us. We took the Kardashians there, for God's sakes. They didn't stay in a tent. They stayed in a 5-star hotel. But also, we're incredible, and talk about using what you have and what you can do to help the world, and they were really amazing like that. And in terms of safety, we believe in our neighborhood, it's the most dangerous place in the Western Hemisphere, but we believe we follow Father Rick's lead, which is by putting fear out, that's what you'll get back. We don't believe in weapons. We have a security team who are really funny. De Garçon is like 70 years old. He's probably like 40, but he looks 70. And he has a whistle. And even when a helicopter landed in our property, here he goes across the thing. You know, he will try to scare anybody with his whistle. That's how we protect ourselves. But a lot of people have security in the area, but I really feel safer not. But if anyone wants to come to Haiti, all you have to do is sign a waiver to say, if you get murdered, we're not responsible. Anyway. Anyone else?
What has been your favorite experience with your work in Haiti?
Working in Haiti? Mm-hmm. My favorite experience, there's so many of them. I have met so many friends there. It's my second home. It's my family. I have such a great support system there. But one of my very truly favorite experiences took place last month. This was only 7 months after we started. Now it's been a year and a half. I can't tell you how much more we've done with $250,000, something ridiculous. But our whole idea in the beginning was to start a movement of these women, to start advocacy, to bring all of these groups together, these grassroots groups, as one voice, as one strong voice. And because I happen to know women in this class and that class and all these different groups and mango farmers and women in the parliament, we started getting this one voice together. Cut to 2 months ago, we did 315 focus groups all over the country, in all the different regions. My team and a team of Femindemocratie, a group we work with, and figured out what every woman in those regions, what their groups needed. They came with platforms. Bank of America and Vital Voices sponsored a conference last month, an international women's conference in Haiti. We had women from Liberia and Cambodia and all over the world come together with 40 women throughout the provinces. Many of them had never been to the city. And we had a conference that was mind-blowing. And these women came up with a 20-point platform of action that they presented to their president at a dinner, President Martelly. And he said, 100%, I am doing all of these things. And what was pretty extraordinary is we started We Advance. We called it We Advance because sort of language, I don't think a lot of it works anymore. I feel like the idea of feminism even, of this whole idea, it feels like fighting for something, fighting against something. Why I like the idea of We Advance, it was about standing in your power and your positivity. Like, you'll be lucky if you get us to the table. So my partner, Barbara Guillaume, who was here last night from Haiti, incredible singer, she's running for mayor of Cité Soleil for the poorest slum, and I think she'll win. She wrote a song about it. It's called Not Vancé, which means We Advance. And it's about our movement and our sisterhood. And every woman in the country knows that song. Signs all over the country saying Not Vancé, Not Vancé. And that night, with the president with Barbara Guillaume sang Not Vancé, We Advance. It was a really proud moment for me. Thank you.
So I actually went this past spring break with a group of Villanova nurses to the Dominican Republic, and we worked in bates, which I'm assuming are similar to like the slums in Haiti. And we worked with women in each bate that were kind of like the health promoters. And I was just wondering if there was anything similar that you found in Haiti of Haitians who kind of were the health promoters for their like communities.
That were what you mean? You mean Haitian women working in the communities?
Yeah, and they weren't nurses or anything, but they just kind of looked out for like the well-being of their neighbors and could help educate their neighbors and stuff like that.
Oh yes, that's the main reason we started We Advance, because the women from our camp came to us and said, you know, we need a women's center, and they had copybooks filled with every woman in the camp and what was wrong with them, and they had nowhere to go. So we put up a tent, and within a couple of days we had a clinic, and they were running the clinic within 2 weeks with no funding. And I said it was $5,000. And I went to the big aid organizations and I said, hey, we can start these everywhere. The women in the camps, they know what they need, and they're willing to do the work. But guess what? Well, you have to write a proposal, you have to go through. And I'm like, how the hell do they know how to write a proposal? They lost their toothbrush. They have to sleep standing up sometimes when it rains because there's mud up to here. And so I think it is the grassroots women, the people, and that's what we're trying to do now. We're trying to create a dedicated fund that we can give to the women's groups. I went to see these mango farmers in Marigot a couple of months ago. A 19-year-old girl shows up. She'd been beaten, her cell phone stolen, her money by this group of guys. All she needed to do was have a lawyer fill out a police report so she could take the guy to court. They needed $125 a month to put a lawyer on a retainer. Now, this women's group takes care of 4,000 women in this region, and they didn't have $125. Meanwhile, there's a huge organization next door in the next town who spent $6 million this year. They have like a fleet of 12 cars that never move. We don't know what they've done. So what we're working on now with a bunch of other organizations is a campaign to funnel money down. Sure.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm wondering, I know maybe it's going to Villanova with the Catholic guilt. Every time I come back from a service trip, I have a hard time being at home and knowing all that I have and kind of still finding a way to really care about like everything, all of like the material possessions and things like that, and reconciling that with everything that I just saw in a third world country. And I'm wondering how you go from, you know, what we just saw in the video of Haiti and then can be walking out of like the Hollywood Bowl or talking to the Kardashians, and how you reconcile that.
I understand. A lot of people feel that way. I don't. I feel like what I talked about at the beginning of the speech, I have a gift. If if I'm working every day with these people, if I'm living like them, I'm giving a different kind of gift. That's not my gig. That's not my gift. My gift is to live in this life. And you know, I have like a lot of friends in Haiti who live in great houses and have a lot of money. To be honest, in Los Angeles, I don't hang out in South Central. I don't have a lot of friends from there. I have friends who work near me and live like me and are educated like me and have the same passions as me. And I think that that is some old guilt, you know? But also use it to motivate you, that guilt and shame. If that's your thing, if that's something you can hold on to and serve because of it, why not? You go down and live in the slum. I hope that helped. Jackson McDermott.
You said that you were going to have a contest for products. Has We Advance done any products?
That's a good question, Jax. We have been researching products. We're trying to get a necklace made now. Someone has offered to give us proceeds of these give bags, but we don't have a particular product that would go to the college crowd that they get really excited about. That's one product that would have the essence of We Advance. You know what I mean? So we're trying to figure that out. So come up with some ideas, because you have great ideas. He's always inventing things, my son. Thanks for asking.
Can we tell other people about the contest?
Do you want to tell the kids in your class?
Yeah.
Go ahead. They might have better ideas than anybody in this room. No problem.
So whatever happened to Drew?
I'd love to know. Where is Drew? I'm single now, so maybe he's out there somewhere. No, I'm kidding.
My second question is, you're one of our famous alum, and are you a Villanova fan outside of here?
Oh, yes, I am. And a lot of it is through my brother Joe, who still keeps connected to the whole Villanova crowd. And he's been saying for years, this school will support you, and you know, you need to come back and be here. I'm really proud to have graduated from here. I want to come back more and do more with the school. You know, they're trying to build a new performing arts center, an extraordinary performing arts center across the street. I'm going to do whatever I can to help and support that. Coach Talley has an incredible bone marrow transplant program, and I'd like to help him support that. So I'll be back quite a bit. Thank you.
Hi. I just had a question if you could expand a little bit on what We Advance does in terms of preventing gender-based violence in Haiti. I know that's a focal point in terms of prevention, and then after the fact, really what you guys are doing down there to help that.
what we realized, we tried to fill a niche. We didn't try to do something that had already been done. There are a lot of great grassroots organizations, like our friends at Cofaviv or Fevalik, that have been in existence for 20 or 40 years that we've helped get funding. And they work with women who are victims of gender-based violence. They work in the camps with women to prevent it. What we found is the greatest impact that we could have is education. So in our adult English classes, it said in there we had 200-person waiting list. We have more than 1,000-person waiting list right now. Half of our people, our 48 people who graduated this past year, half of them within a week got jobs, their first jobs ever. They learn English, to speak English, simple English, and to write Creole. But within that class, we came up with a program to teach them about gender-based violence, about why it is, how do you say this word? Oh, you hit your wife? What? This word rape, what does that mean? Oh, it means this. It's not very manly, is it? And we've seen behavior change through this, through our English class. We have another program that we came up with best practices all over the world called the Empowerment Project. We teach health, hygiene, gender-based violence, and democracy classes. But we train 20 people from our neighborhood, like I said, and they have a living wage now, 20 people, 10 men and 10 women, who then go out in the neighborhood and they recruit 20 people to train in a 6-week course. They get like a little prize at the end, but they get a certificate that they graduated. Everything from in the beginning, you know, it's like a safety thing, don't put your machete where your 2-year-old can reach it, all the way up to why you shouldn't rape your wife. And we're really seeing behavior change. And that's where we're starting to get a lot of funding because people are understanding that that education piece was missing. Anyone else?
What is a living wage there? What is normal? Just curious.
Most people live under $1 a day, more than 50% of the population. But a living wage, we pay more than a living wage. Living wage is $7 a day. We pay $10 a day. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. My favorite memory. Yeah, Smokey Joe's. Fully. We had some fun when I was at school. Living with my brother Joe and our friend Elise in like Animal House. That's what it looked like. And meeting Father Ray Jackson. And sitting in that library. Oh, there's a book in the library that was life-changing for me. And it was by Anonymous. And if someone can find that book, I will do anything. I want to find this book. It was another thing that put me on my path. It was about a woman who was in Nicaragua during the Civil War, who was put in a prison and who ended up writing her life story on pieces of toilet tissue and gum wrappers. And it's by Anonymous. So someone help me find that book. Anyway, thank you, Tyler. If that's all, I just want to thank you again for having me and honored to be here. All of us. All of us. God bless. Thank you. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Jax.